This detailed guide provides step-by-step instructions to ensure a smooth installation process. We've included the recommended tools and precise torque specs straight from the manufacturer. We recommend that you perform an alignment a week after installation. This gives some time for the suspension to settle. These are the tools needed for the installation. Before installation begins, make sure to measure from center of wheel to fender and determine how low you would like it to be. Here are the measurements we had before install. Properly jack up vehicle at designated lift points. Remove wheels. Lug size is 21 millimeters. Remove the wheel sensor connector from behind the rotor. Remove wheel sensor and brake line bracket with a 12 millimeter socket. Remove end link with a 17 millimeter socket. Remove the two lower mount 17 millimeters bolts and 19 millimeters nuts. Remove 14 millimeters top hat nuts and remove strut. Release the lower mount perch and adjust coilover to desired height by spinning the lower mount. Do not adjust height with spring perches. These adjust spring preload. Remove lower mount shock damper with 14 millimeters nut and install on coilover. When height adjustment is completed, tighten the lower mount perch with provided spanner wrenches before installing the strut. Install the front coilover with 14 millimeters nuts and washers, then torque down to 39 foot-pounds. Slide in lower mount into spindle. The top mounting hole on the lower mount is oval to give you camber adjustment. We recommend placing it in the center for minimal tire wear and will be set properly when you get your alignment. Torque spec is 115 foot-pounds. Install end links with a 17 millimeters socket. Torque spec is 72 foot-pounds. Reattach brake bracket with a 12 millimeters nut. Torque spec is 9 foot-pounds. Clip in wheel speed sensor. Install wheel with 21 millimeters socket. Torque spec is 79 foot-pounds. This completes the front installation. Once you remove the rear wheels with a 21 millimeter socket, remove the shock top mount with 14 millimeter socket. Remove 19 millimeters nut and bolt from shock lower mount to remove the shock. Support the rear lower mount with a jack, then remove the 19 millimeters nut and bolt from the spindle. Carefully and slowly lower the jack to release spring tension and remove the spring. To set your rear ride height, first measure the OEM spring height. Use this as a reference when adjusting the height of the new coilover springs with the provided adjusters. Make sure to leave at least 1 inch of thread above the adjustment perches at the highest setting. Place the spring with the adjusters on top and ensure it fits into the OEM insulator on the lower control arm. Remove the top hat from OEM shock by first removing the plastic cover with a trim tool, then using a 14mm socket to remove the top hat. Remove the dust boot and bump stop and only install the top hat on the new rear shock. Torque the 14mm top hat nut to 79 foot-pounds. Release the red shock perch, then mount the rear shock by torquing the 14mm 2 top hat bolts to 36 foot-pounds. Use the jack to support the lower mount until the control arm hole aligns with the spindle hole. Slide in the 19mm bolt and nut. Rotate the shock as close as possible to the mounting hole. Then use the jack to compress the spring for final alignment before sliding in the 19mm bolt and nut. Torque the 2 19mm bolts and nuts to 115 foot-pounds. Tighten the shock perch with provided spanner wrenches, then install rear wheels. Torque lug nuts with 21mm socket to 79 foot-pounds. These are the measurements after installation. This completes Hyundai IONIQ 5 coilover install.